The Carvath had ruled the outer spiral for 11,000 cycles. They were apex predators in every sense, 3 meters of scaled muscle, 4 eyes that saw in spectrums humans couldn't name, and a philosophy built on strength alone. They respected power. They understood dominance. They had no word for mercy. Captain Olivia Chen stood in the observation deck of the human research vessel Meridian, watching the Carvath delegation approach through the viewing port. Their ship was all sharp angles and dark metal, a weapon that happened to carry passengers. She smoothed down her uniform, though her hands trembled slightly. "They're early," Reed muttered beside her. The xenobiologist had been studying the Carvath for 3 years, ever since humanity had stumbled into their territory. Carvath are never early. It's a dominance thing. Make others wait. Olivia glanced at him. Reed's brown eyes were troubled behind his glasses, his usually steady hands fidgeting with his datapad. They both knew what this meeting meant. The Carvath were deciding whether humanity deserved to exist in their territory, or whether the 5 human colonies would be removed. The airlock hissed open. Commander Vreth entered first, his scales the deep purple of old blood, his crest fully extended in a display of authority. Behind him came 3 other Carvath warriors, each carrying weapons that human security had reluctantly allowed after tense negotiations. "Captain Chen." Vreth's voice came through the translator, all grinding consonants and harsh vowels. "We complete our evaluation today." For 2 weeks, the Carvath had toured human facilities, watched their military drills, analyzed their technology. They were testing humanity's strength, their right to exist. It was how the Carvath understood the universe. The strong survived. The weak were consumed or driven out. "We've prepared a final demonstration," Olivia said, keeping her voice level. Vreth's eyes narrowed. "All 4 of them? More weapons? More ships? We have seen your strength. It is adequate. But we have seen nothing that makes you exceptional." Reed stepped forward, his voice quiet but firm. "Not weapons, Commander. Something else. Something we think you need to see." Laboratory 3 was a medical bay, not an armory. The Carvath delegation shifted uncomfortably as they entered, claws scraping against the deck plates. This was not what they expected. In the center of the room, in a specialized containment unit, lay a small creature. It was a juvenile Carvath, no more than 3 cycles old. Its scales still soft and pale. One of its legs was badly injured, nearly severed in some accident. Vreth froze. His crest went flat. "Where did you acquire this? Where did you acquire this?" "Your colony ship that crashed on Terminus 7 last month," Reed explained. "We found the survivors. This cub was pinned under debris. Your own rescue teams left it behind, too injured to save. Not worth the resources." It was true. The Carvath rescue mission had extracted the strong and abandoned the rest. Efficient. Practical. The way of apex predators. "You kept it alive?" one of Vreth's warriors hissed. "Why?" Olivia moved to the containment unit. Inside, Dr. Sarah Okonkwo was working with 2 other medical staff, carefully reattaching synthesized tissue to the cub's leg. The young Carvath was sedated, its breathing shallow but steady. "Because we could," Olivia said simply. She pressed a control, and a holographic recording began to play. It showed the rescue operation on Terminus 7. Human teams digging through wreckage. And there Reed, pulling the wounded cub from the debris while fire raged around them. The cub's distressed calls. Reed cradling it carefully, running for the medical shuttle. The recording shifted. It showed the surgical bay of the Meridian. Dr. Okonkwo, working for 18 hours straight to stabilize the cub. And there, in the corner of the frame, was Olivia. She was watching the surgery, her face tight with exhaustion. And then, when the cub's vital signs had stabilized, when Dr. 8, Okonkwo had stepped back and whispered, "We saved it." A single tear had rolled down Olivia's cheek. The hologram froze on that image. The laboratory was silent. Vreth stared at the frozen image, at that single tear. His translator crackled, struggling with a word. This. Water from eyes. What is this? Tears, Reed said quietly. We cry when we feel deeply. Pain. Joy. Relief. We cried because we were happy we could save your cub. You spent resources. Vreth's voice was strange, uncertain. You risked lives in fire. For a wounded thing that was not your own. That was already abandoned. That gave you no advantage. Yes, Olivia said. Why? She looked at the Carvath commander, meeting all four of his eyes. Because every cub deserves a chance to grow. Because strength isn't just about power. It's about what you choose to do with it. Because we're strong enough to protect the vulnerable. Vreth approached the containment unit slowly. Inside, the cub stirred, its eyes flickering open. Dr. Okonkwo had stepped back, giving the commander space. The young Carvath made a soft sound, a call for its parent, and something changed in Vreth's bearing. His crest rose slowly, but not in aggression, in something else. Something like awe. We have built our empire on strength, he said finally. We believed that to rule the apex, one must discard all weakness, emotion, compassion. We thought these were the traits of prey. He turned to face Olivia and Reed. But you show us something we never considered. You are strong, strong enough to fight, to build, to survive. And yet you are also strong enough to weep for a cub that is not your own, strong enough to save what we abandoned. Vreth's claws retracted. In Carvath culture, it was a sign of deep respect. We saw you cry for a wounded cub. Vreth continued. And we understand now that your tears are not weakness. They are a weapon we never imagined. A strength we never possessed. You have passed our evaluation, Captain Chen. But more than that, you have taught us something new. Reed let out a breath he'd been holding for 2 weeks. Vreth approached the containment unit one more time, looking at the sleeping cub. May we take it home? Can it survive? Dr. Okonkwo smiled. Another week of treatment, and it'll be strong enough to travel. The leg will heal. It'll run again. Then we are in your debt, Vreth said. The Carvath do not forget such things. As the delegation prepared to leave, Vreth paused at the doorway. Your species adds something to this galaxy that was missing, Captain. You have shown us that the strongest apex predator is the one who chooses when to bare its teeth and when to shed its tears. Later, Olivia and Reed stood in the observation deck again, watching the Carvath ship depart peacefully. Do you think they really understand? Reed asked. Olivia wiped her eyes. She'd been crying again, this time from relief. In the medical bay, the wounded cub slept on, healing. Saved by the tears of apex predators who had evolved a different kind of strength.